I think they're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. I must share, it's excellent to be here, not just on this planet and in this living world, but to be in the good presence of Miss Susan on this fantastic Friday afternoon. As drenched as we may be, well, the deluge comes down to be blessings from on high. Let's have some open line for this first hour in 7 minutes, thereabouts. 949-8037 or toll free at 1-800-534-8255. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Talk Today is brought to you by Fidelity Bank. For all your banking needs, visit fidelitygroup.com. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Also brought to you by greenturtle.ky. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app. The future of mobile. Saving lives today. Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255. Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thank you for joining us and thank you for always tuning in here to Radio Cayman. I trust and pray that there will be no, hurricanes or other natural disasters or even political, economic or social, otherwise, not just for Cayman or for the Caribbean or the region or the globe, but that we live in harmony and peace and prosperity, a sense of social responsibility and civility. But hey, sometimes they say with the good comes the bad, or with the bad, hopefully we'll find some good. Well, what's out there that you want to share? 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. All good things must come to an end, they tell us. Well, it was a joy and a pleasure, truly a privilege and an honor to be able to stay away and out of the sight of the cameras. But hey, you know what? I love radio. I think a face only a mother could love. Certainly enjoyed not having to stare into the one-eye monster, but Susan makes it look good, so come, keep my company and share with me. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. It is a bit rainy outside, not just that the roads are wet, but I even found that my hair got wet just trying to dash between the raindrops, so if it was enough to wet my hair, I would say for you, be careful out there, okay? Well, what's on your mind? Give us a shout. I'm going to share, though. I found it quite interesting. It reminded me of a long time ago. I was in some other part of the world, and there were some visiting, dignitaries being sort of ferried back and forth, and it was a strong police presence. I guess some parts of the world, presumably, are not that safe. Maybe like many places, we have adopted that because it makes us look important. Remember, not long ago, there were some visiting dignitaries from the Caribbean here for some conference or other, where we expend money to show, our presence and, rub elbows, as it were, as they were being moved back and forth from the airport. Our police were being used as escorts as well. Well, yesterday I saw something quite similar, and I'm curious as to what it was. Those buses that we use to carry our children, some of our most precious resources, don't get that sort of police escort. Yesterday, those 3 buses, 3 police cars in front, having the same thing. I don't know, maybe it's being, under house arrest makes us cooped up and curious. I wonder what that was. Anybody knows? Hey, share with me. It was interesting. It created a bit of a conversation for a short time. Wonder what that could be. There's not a visiting, royalty. So, but then again, the Royal Aircraft was on the tarmac yesterday. What a big plane. My goodness, I love planes, and that thing was the size of a small country. Put it grey, nicely camouflage, especially with the skies being what they were. But I don't know, 14 people on a plane that size, they must have all had king-size beds to rest in on the way back, or bring a lot of equipment. But let's have some fun. Let's not just get into conjecture, but why not? I mean, who knows? Turn the corner, put us on, it might be martial law. You never can tell. The north seems to be on the siege. Can't be far from here. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. Again, to our listeners, I know our engineer and Miss Susan both were diligently working, and we want to extend our sincerest apologies for the challenges that we had yesterday. The lightning, if we could harness it, we told that we could get enough energy to power the world forever, and that didn't make it any easier. So we are again so sorry for the challenges. I know a few of our other shows had some challenges, but yesterday in particular, we were challenged in order to be able to bring you the reception that you want. And life goes on. Got other things accomplished, perhaps even earlier. Maybe it didn't take as long. Who knows? 949-8037 or toll free at 1-800-534-8255. Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thanks for calling.
Oh, you're welcome. Good afternoon, Dwayne. Peter Schmidt here.
Good afternoon, Captain. How are you today, sir?
I'm actually not bad, The rain was holding up for me this morning while I was walking, so my hair didn't get wet.
That's good to know.
Mind you, everything else from the head down was wet, but that came from eating too much and drinking too much. Anyway, it was, I always enjoy and have a better day if I can start off with some good exercise.
That is true.
Being a morning person, I prefer to do that in the morning before it gets too warm.
So you must be finished by 6.
Yeah. Anyway, I wanted to touch on a topic. I picked up a little bit about it over the last few days. You saw this thing where the UK is going to have implemented a path to citizenship in the UK for up to 3 million Hong Kong Chinese. Now, I don't know exactly if there are a lot of people that are seeking an exit from Hong Kong or not, but I would imagine that there would be a few thousand anyway. And I'm wondering what that might mean for colonies or dependent territories like Cayman.
Good question. I was wondering that myself. I mean,
Because right now, if you're going through the island and just kind of looking around, there is a tremendous amount of apartments and houses, and in other words, accommodations under construction. Now, I hear the government saying that we're hoping to reopen the tourism industry timely, and hopefully it's not just political rhetoric and changing things, that more Caymanians will be participating in it than, rather than so many expats on the front lines where they are in contact with the guest and providing a foreign impression of another place, or at the very best of not a Caymanian image. So now I think at the best of times we had approximately 2,000 and something Caymanian that were registered to be out of work. So assuming that a quarter of them would be able to be absorbed in the hospitality sector. Of course, that would still require, if we are going back to eventually reach the 500K tourism target, as the minister has spoken about, we would still need a significant component of expatriate workers. So a lot of that accommodation, etc., would be absorbed by them if they're making wages that allow them to inhabit those kind of places. In all honesty, looking at it from my perspective, where being at the stage of life that I'm at, I wouldn't mind downscaling a bit from the square footage I occupy now to something more compact, which would serve me just as well and may not be so much work for my wife and myself. However, if I would have to sell my current dwelling in order to be able to purchase another one, and it would seem almost like I'd have to sell my house, my house of 3,000 plus square feet, in order to afford 1,500, 1,800 square foot two-bedroom place. So it's questionable whether one would feel that is a wise decision. You might say, well, I'll hold on to what I have. I know how it works, and I have a routine. So I'll just do my work and keep me busy rather than making the switch. So with so much, in other words, with so much construction going on, it still looks like there would be a considerable amount of surplus habitable spaces compared to what we have used in the past. Now, I wonder if something like that would be attractive to people that feel it would be a good time to leave a place like Hong Kong. And then, of course, I wonder what the impact would be socially on the island. I've had some friends from Canada. One of them, unfortunately, passed away some time ago, but he was from British Columbia and more exactly from vicinity of Vancouver. And he was telling me the impact that the influx of the massive numbers of Chinese had in the Vancouver area, and I'm just wondering how we may fare, with those kind of people that are accustomed to a very hectic pace, tremendous personal competition in the workplace, and schooling and life habits from primary school level, inbred, far more competitive than I would dare say the average Caymanian that has lived here most of his life. So,
and most Westerners in particular.
I think it's fair to even say that. Yeah. Even though we, when I was a young man, I used to keep up with the best of them walking through towns, in cities. I enjoyed doing that and looking around what's going up. But I must admit that nowadays, if I go to New York, I'm being passed by some people that I am ashamed to admit to. The young ladies in high heels, they go right past me like I'm standing still, and I'm saying, boy, age is creeping up on you. But
it's wisdom,
yes,
it's wisdom.
You're right. Even the Westerners in general, I think, would come in second, in that kind of society.
Cap, we have a break to take before we get too far off. I'll invite you, if you wish. We can pick up the conversation after the break if you want to share more.
All right. Unless you have the callers lined up, then you can just give me the secret signal, with the little finger wiggling in the air, and I'll hang up.
All right. Well, let's pick it up because we have one or two comments that came in relation to the numbers that potentially could be coming to our shores and the sort of impetus for the massive push for development and construction. So maybe we can talk about that. I crave your indulgence. And to our listeners, when we come back from the break, please rejoin us.
Green Turtle, modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app. The future of mobile, saving lives today.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
I've got some beautiful clothes. I know just where they go, good and cleaner.
A reminder of the standard 10% off prepay on wedding dresses and gowns, also household items, drapes, bedspreads, area rugs, and more. 10% prepaid discount can also apply to all wearing apparel, $17 and up. These discounts at all our stores. Savannah Countryside, 946-1884. Elgin Avenue, 949-2452. 337 Eastern Avenue, drive-through rain or shine, 949-7104. Call our seamstress, Miss Kathy, at 949-2452. Elgin Avenue for all your adjustments and repairs. Puritan Cleaners. You feel good when you look good.
Hi, this is Danny Coleman, Director of Hazard Management Cayman Islands. We are now in the hurricane season, and for information on how to prepare and stay safe, please visit our website, www.caymanprepared.ky. Some top tips to bear in mind, given that we are still in the midst of COVID-19. Please make sure you have a mask and sanitizer, you have food supplies to last for 3 to 5 days, a portable radio, personal hygiene and sanitation items, and medical supplies, and any other specific items your family may need during a hurricane. Make sure you know where you will shelter in the event of a storm. If you have pets, please make sure provisions are in place for them too, as the majority of shelters will not take pets. Please visit our website for more tips and tricks on www.caymanprepared.ky or call us on 945-4624. Stay safe, Cayman.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Good afternoon and welcome back. Thank you for joining us. It is open line 949-8037 or toll free at 1-800-534-8255. Very privileged to have the excellent company of Captain Peter Schmid. Thanks very much, sir, for staying online and joining us, because your comments have sort of stirred a few other quick views from some of our listeners who've shared some messages. But you were sharing before I asked a question or two.
Yes, I'm back. And so are you, of course. I was trying to time it so I could give the phone a chance to recharge in case I was putting too much strain on it here. But you were saying actually that you had an indication of numbers that might be expected to be interested in a place like Cayman.
Yeah, we've been hearing people posit scenarios, and some questions were being asked that seemingly that 20 to 30,000 could eventually make their way to our shores, of the millions that are going across to the UK, then being farmed out to the overseas territories. We could end up with a batch between 20 and 30,000, and presumably some have already alleged that much of the construction and everything that's coming out of the ground is already pre-sold.
Yeah, well, on that note, of course, we know that at least in some sectors of our construction industry, there are some games are being played in terms of announcing the pre-sold numbers.
Mm-hmm.
But nevertheless, I'm actually, I would say, I'm least concerned about the things that the private sector would put up in terms of making investments to accommodate the additional numbers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more concerned about the infrastructure demands that it would make on the island in every way, and not least of which would be the education system.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is fair to say that what we know about Asian children, they are being pushed to put in a tremendous amount of work into the basic education to position themselves for better opportunities when they choose tertiary education. And I dare say that we would have considerable catching up to do, and in order to remain competitive. Number one, with what we offer, and again, I guess the private schools would flourish to take care of that. However, then we have to think about the competitiveness of the Caymanian in the marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
When over time these people that came with a different set of culture, when they enter the working arena. Initially, there would be some language issues, which would force many of the businesses to start employing people that can communicate in Mandarin or Cantonese, whatever. I'm not even sure what the most spoken language in Hong Kong in particular is, but I've seen that happen in the tourist locales in Switzerland. All of a sudden you have all these Chinese-speaking people in the stores, and of course you know why, because the Asians, and Chinese in particular in the last 10, 15 years, they travel en masse, and they go into these stores and they buy, which they have not previously had an opportunity to do so. Mm-hmm. So some tremendous challenges, I think, and I was just wondering if you had any kind of further insight in what we are doing or what we are thinking about in that respect.
And we would obviously would expect that our government, not just through the Ministry of Tourism, but through the leadership of the Honorable Premier, to inform the public of what sort of policies and plans that it may have for the country. As you shared, the impact on the infrastructure, without question, the social implications. We're seeing the financial ramifications, the cost and price for, say, housing and even raw land, just a house lot, has been increasing ever more. If you have tens of thousands of people who are fairly well-to-do come to the shores, with the jurisdiction having this reputation that it does, it could bid up prices even higher, displace not just the Caymanians but all that I hear. I liked your example. What about people who may decide to retire? Their children are grown, and just for a little bit more of a financial freedom and security, just for the maintenance and ease of and convenience, they may decide to sell the family home of 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 square feet and have a place of 1,000 or 2,000 square feet. All of a sudden now that's costing more than what they would realize in the sale of the family home. How are they going to do that? What consequences will that have long term? So would our government share its plan? Is there a plan? Or like so many, is it belief that the populace are too ignorant to know and to be informed, so let's not bother to tell them?
I would really, I have some concerns about the level of representation we get once the elections are done. At this point, from our district representatives, keeping people, raising people like mushrooms is not, in my opinion, an option in this day and age. I don't know whether you are on Facebook to any great extent or not, but I look at it just about every day a little bit when before I go to sleep or something like that. And we seem to be talking more with the group I'm in I guess, about foreign political issues and social issues than we talk about our own. And sometimes it seems to me like we are reluctant to tackle some of the things because they're not easy things to deal with anymore. All the easy things have been done, and all that's left to do now are the hard things. Right. And unfortunately, they do have to be done as well.
I think you're right in that we're talking more. Maybe it is, as you shared, it is more difficult. But is it true that the foreign issues, there is an opportunity for more discussion because there's more information available, whether it's accurate or not? But there's more information. You can access things, find out something, at least question it more, openly. Well, that is certainly the case. As you know, I've been a member of Rotary Club for many years, in excess of 20 years, and when I joined that organization, I did so I would have an area of where I could have discussion with my peers. Of course, the organization itself has changed a lot, and I have gotten older. Many people that were my age group or are my age group, and some that were my age group, are no longer here. Some moved away, some have left the organization, and some have left us altogether. So the discussions are not as robust as they ought to be in the community. I find it difficult to find amicable facilities or opportunities where people would be comfortable debating different viewpoints rather than I say something, you don't agree with it, but you don't want to offend me, so you don't say anything, which is unfortunately often the case here, where many discussions would in fact benefit from a robust dialogue where you could evaluate without judgment on the personalities, where you could discuss your points of view and see the merits and demerits of the various points. And as you say, there is much more information available from foreign sources, number one, about foreign places. And the other thing is that you're largely anonymous when you can make comments largely anonymous. Unfortunately, many times that seems to give people license to say things which are brash and cruel and without accountability almost.
Anything meaningful to the conversation at all.
Yeah. Well, Cap,
Yeah, I'll let you go. I'm running out of words.
And I don't think that day would ever come. And I certainly appreciate you sharing, because it's caused maybe at least a few of us to think about what is shared, the impact of what is, to come. I trust that you'll enjoy the rest of the day.
Yeah, I have to finish my beef soup here.
All right, well, I'll bring my spoon.
Okay. Have a good afternoon.
And you too, sir. And with that, let's just pause quickly, take a short break. It's going to be an open line until 1:30 as we invite you to call and share your thoughts. You can hit the toll-free line, 1-800-534-8255. Hey, Susan is right there on the other end. So you want to call? Well, she'll answer. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Don't let COVID interrupt your education. Start your journey now with the University of the West Indies UWI Open Campus, the leader in online education, offering certificate, diploma, associate's, bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degrees. Ranked number 1 in the Caribbean and in the top 4% of universities across the world. Programs from business management, accounting, tourism, psychology, social work, and more. Don't have your CXC results as yet? No worries. Apply now and submit results later. The UWI Open Campus is flexible and oh so affordable with payment plans or take advantage of scholarship options. Apply by July 24th for September classes. Call 946-8322 or visit www.open.ue.edu. Avoid the stress. Shelter at home while you complete your online degree. The University of the West Indies, bringing world-class university right home to you. Apply today.
You've spent a lot of time with your kitchen appliances lately. Did you realize just how old or out of date they really are? If you're thinking of upgrading or replacing your old kitchen appliances, there is only one place to go: Brand Source Home Gallery. They're having a 15% off sale on GE appliances this month. That's right, save 15% off on all GE appliances now through the end of July. You will love the savings and the look of your fresh new appliances from Brand Source Home Gallery in Industrial Park on Dorsey Drive. Call 623-5000 for more information.
The Wharf is your only waterfront breakfast and lunch atmosphere along the shoreline. Starts at 7 a.m. with freshly squeezed juices, hot coffee, and your farm fresh eggs.
The unique sunset happy hour and dinner ambiance is your obvious choice for your waterfront dining. See you soon for salsa and boogie nights at the Wharf.
Follow us on Facebook to keep in the loop of all the happenings and come and join us at the all-day waterfront experience on the 7 Mile Beach.
Mommy, have you been taking your medication? No, I think I forgot to pick it up. Your doctor prescribed it for a reason, so you should be taking it regularly. I know, TD. Thanks for the reminder.
If you are elderly or vulnerable and need your prescription delivered to your home, contact the Health Services Authority Pharmacy at 949-8600. Taking your medication when prescribed is important to your health, and your health matters to us. For more information about our pharmacy hours and locations, visit hsa.ky. or call 949-8600.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thanks for sharing with us. It's open line here on this truly, fun-filled, fantastic Friday's edition of Talk Today, as we invite you to call and share your thoughts with us. 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. You can WhatsApp 925-3261 as well if you wish to share your thoughts with us. But as the Cap shared just prior to the break, the notion that as we're looking around the globe at the international media, maybe we're able to access other information about things that are transpiring in other countries, whether it's affecting their political landscape, upcoming elections, or discussions about whether its borders going to be open, how it's responding to certain things, its public policy initiatives, its private sector sort of undertakings and the like. Are we able to do that more freely and willingly? Because, we don't have to worry about any possible repercussions if we make a comment about things that are happening here. Likewise, maybe it is easier because we have information, accurate or otherwise, more so, more timely than we have here as well. Well, it could be a combination of all sorts of things. But the question is, if we don't, review and comment about the things that affect our lives in the place in which we live in, sort of butter or bread, as it were, then are we just occupying space and time and really of no significant value to future generations? And maybe that's part of the plan, or we just want to cash the checks as fast as we can, perhaps bank the money as much as we can without any consequence or consideration for how it's going to affect those coming after. Well, share your thoughts with us. 949-8037 or toll free at 1-800-534-8255. With that in mind, we had a few discussions partly because of the world in which we've become conditioned, and partly the inclement weather. They were done sort of remotely, electronically, virtually, as it were. And it was surrounding the nicely, as one said, euphemistically termed, the Domestic Partnerships Bill. Now, I'll share with you just two sentiments. One, the perspective that the legislation in and of itself couldn't, perhaps should be named otherwise, and perhaps expanded to maybe cover other areas as well. But two, is this piece of legislation, as some have questioned, sufficiently, positioned to lead a call or a charge for independence? There are those who would say, hey, at some point you need to grow up and paddle your own, canoe. If you're going to sail your own catboat, then you need to do it under your own steam. But you should be prepared. Maybe when you get to a certain age, you just don't leave your parents' home. You just don't be pushed out of the bird nest. You should be prepared. Some of us will find that preparation a lot more involved and perhaps come a lot earlier than others. Be that as it may, is this something that would and should lead us to independence? Now, there are those who say, yep, anything is better than nothing, because we need to get there at some point, so better we do it now and better this than that. But again, are we prepared, and is it sufficiently a serious enough issue? And are we able to look at things as an objective, an impartial, a responsible, a respectful manner to be able to consider the implications of what we do and don't do? Or is it like so much? There is always an agenda. People want certain things because, well, it's what they want, and it's the wants that motivate people to do the things that they do. Now, when we look at it, is it that we can and should be mindful that not everybody subscribes to the same mindset, and not everybody sort of aspires to the same sort of level of achievement and attainment. But again, with issues that affect the social fabric, are there things that require greater consultation and participation? This legislation is an example, but it's not, in itself the only thing. Come back to the conversation with respect to what is happening globally, the moves by mainland China and its impact or potential impact on Hong Kong, the UK's response with respect to saying, well, let's, have a few million, people come across. Will that, as some have shared, result in some of the territories being required, encouraged, or otherwise to take up some of these people? Perhaps for the territories, it would be a wonderful opportunity to grow its population, to expand its taxable base, to contribute even more to its economy and the social fabric. Some very positive things that could come. But is it something that is being shared, as a plan, so that the populace can only be prepared, but can also, be positioned to understand the implications? Now, you may not worry about it. It may be something that keeps you up at night. Well, like so much. Sometimes if you don't know, you can, not have to worry because it don't, in a sense, place any greater stress on you. And then after the fact, you might say, well, you know what, no harm, no foul. Well, it just may be. Well, 949-8037, or toll free at 1-800-534-8255. A quick preview at 1:30. We're going to have a chance to speak to two of the ophthalmologists over at the HSA, Dr. Corkin and Dr. Scarati, together with Dr. Pecco will join us. We get a chance to continue our partnership with the Health Services Authority as we share with you some of the things that are transpiring. Now, I say it, and hopefully, as I say it, it will not be something that engender further conversation or gain traction, as it were, but it'll be improved upon. The health and the wealth of our society, it's its education system, its healthcare system, where people can have access to good health care when they need it, a robust education system that prepares its people. And if they're healthy, educated, then they can be positive, productive. They can be, better citizens. With that, let's pause and take a short break. And when we come back, more Talk Today.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have, on island.
Your voice, your choice.
It is in the best interest of the people of these islands.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. The Health Services Authority's Smith Road Center Pharmacy refill location will remain open for Syneco and private insurance members with full coverage. Persons with full coverage who have requested refills as of July 20th will be directed to pick up at Smith Road as they had previously. In international news, accusations from the U.S. and U.K. that Russia recently tested anti-satellite weaponry in space are distorted, says Russia's defense ministry. Tests carried out on July 15th did not create a threat for other spacecraft, the ministry said, adding that it had not violated international law. China has ordered the closure of the U.S. consulate in the southwestern city of a tit-for-tat escalation between the two countries. China said the move was in response to the U.S. closing its consulate in Houston and accused staff in Chengdu of meddling in its internal affairs. Boris Johnson has admitted the government did not understand coronavirus during the first few weeks and months of the UK outbreak. Mr. Johnson also said ministers could have done things differently. More than 45,000 people in the UK have died after testing positive for coronavirus, government figures show, with almost 300,000 cases confirmed. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
your voice, your choice, your radio.
Green Turtle. Modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.
Have you heard the news? Get excited! King Sports Center is reopening on Saturday, July 4th for bowling and skating, Monday, July 6th for the Powerhouse Gym, and July 19th for sports programs. King Sports Center offers a complete health and recreational environment for the only sports and recreational facility of its kind in the Cayman Islands. A full list of all safety precautions is listed at www.kingsportscenter.com. For more information, call 946-5464. Email kings@candw.ky. King Sports Center, providing you with all your fitness, recreation, and relaxation needs.
Register for the University College of the Cayman Islands 4-week technical vocational courses. The introductory courses provide training in computer technology, customer service, QuickBooks, commercial cooking, electrical installations, plumbing and air conditioning applications, and many more. Classes start July 27th. Qualified Caymanians can apply for private scholarship. How can you register? Join UCCI's registration drive from July 22nd to the 24th and July 27th, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on the UCCI campus. Bring your passport and health insurance card. For more information, contact the admissions team at admissions@ucci.edu.ky or call 623-8224.
You've spent a lot of time with your kitchen appliances lately. Did you realize just how old or out of date they really are? If you're thinking of upgrading or replacing your old kitchen appliances, there is only one place to go: Brand Source Home Gallery. They're having a 15% off sale on GE appliances this month. That's right, save 15% off on all GE appliances now through the end of July. You will love the savings and the look of your fresh new appliances from Brand Source Home Gallery in Industrial Park on Dorsey Drive. Call 623-5000 for more information.
Your Radio Cayman 7 a.m. news, brought to you by Cayman National, proudly serving the Cayman Islands since 1974. Visit www.caymannational.com for up-to-date information for all your financial needs and follow us on social media.
Calling all registered voters for the constituency of Georgetown Central. It's your representative, Kenneth Bryan here. I want your input in the government's proposed domestic partnership bill. Come and place your confidential vote on whether or not you want me to support this bill. The voting location and time is this coming Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Constitutional Hall, better known as the Georgetown Town Hall. Come and take part in your democracy.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. It's open line 949-8037 or toll free with a comprehensive flow at 1-800-534-8255. Share your thoughts with us as we invite you to call and perhaps, consider some of the things that are transpiring, not just within our shores, but the idea of maybe the impact. Now, just during the break, I looked at a quick message or two in relation to just two sentiments. One had to do with the constant sort of reminder that thus far our tests have been returned negative. And one person just messaged and said, hey, now that we are in this zone, two things need to be considered. One, the level of restrictions on socializing and gathering and the like, and the wearing of masks. If we don't have it out and about, then why are we still forced to wear a mask? Now, may not be a big issue. We know some of us tend to struggle with it. We question whether, inhaling and exhaling through this thing, what impact, if any, would that have on our health long term. Others would say, well, wearing a mask, it's challenging, not just to breathe, but how do you identify people? Is there a safety issue and the like? Others will freely, continually wear the mask without question because they believe the authorities in the sense that it's the safest measure going forward. And the other quick comment that we got from the other message that we thought were important to share were simply, with the move by many jurisdictions to legalize or decriminalize ganja, marijuana, cannabis, whatever it's called, should we now, do likewise in relation to recreational use or, simple possession and consumption, not distribution and supply. The person's message was clear and emphasizing we're not talking about dealing, but in that, like any commodity, how do you supply if you don't have a large enough quantity? Now, presumably people would know better how to do that. But what are your thoughts? Because this message also asks the question, will that be one of the issues that potentially would make its way as we head towards, as the plans are now for next May, for a general election? Will that be something that potential candidates would take a position on? Not just invite the public to say, what do you think? But for the candidate to come out, or the candidates or the parties or whomever, to say, hey, I'm against or I'm for, or whatever their perspective. And as a listener, do you think that is even sufficiently an issue that warrants public discussion and consideration at this time? Will it be, as some have shared, that if you make it legal and accessible, then that'll encourage consumption? And if we do so, are we, conscious of the health concerns that it could have if we were to consume it? Now, there have been others, not in this last message that I read, but who have, shared that if we ever get to that point, are we prepared to look at the supply and distribution, the propagation and the like, so that we're not relying on importing something that may or may not be of the same quality and caliber that we could grow ourselves. And even if we could get a similar product of a high caliber imported, could we grow it to control the quality, to make the revenue stream from it from our own sort of production? Now, I did share at some point long ago that I would try to read more and understand more. I haven't as yet sort of honored that commitment, but I will at some point, just to understand it, as it is a very, very topical issue in many places where they see, presumably, significant financial windfalls. We also gather from teachers in other jurisdictions that they've had, perhaps on the western sort of coast of the U.S., reports that students' behaviors have not necessarily improved. Not only is there a level of lethargy with respect to the way the students approach their school work, but even some of their behavior. Now, we also gather from some individuals who've indicated that the mixing and combining of the substance with something else can create untold consequences. Again, very challenging. To the caller who's ringing, we'll just answer your call momentarily. 949-8037 for others who want to get through, or 1-800-534-8255. Very grateful, and publicly want to say thanks to Miss Susan. She's managing many hats at one time. Wow, it's all good stuff. Up and down and all around, we're making it happen, and as we invite you. So 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255, or you can WhatsApp 925-3261. And as I had a chance to sort of share with many individuals in recent times about the things as to how they've been affected, their personal lives and relations, their business, and the potential that they know for them, and a hope of recovery, because they've just taken a significant windfall. It isn't a case where their sector has been affected, but the financial windfall that they have sort of realized over the years, and now to have to put in a whole lot of work at the age and stage that they're at to sort of rebuild, well, isn't worth it in that sense. They can cash out now and sail off into the sunset, as it were. For others, they say, well, if they try to realize their business and sell it, what would they get? The few dollars may not be necessarily worth it. Whatever goodwill the name had, whatever machinery and equipment that they may have, well, it's probably in need of replacing. So it's best just to cash in the chips and move on. Well, with that, will we see new businesses springing up? What is your perspective? Do you see going forward an opportunity for the entrepreneurial spirit to rear its head, and for people to, again, sort of like the phoenix, come back from the ashes and now have that much more to offer? Or are you like some, bit beaten and battered, and so really the bruising has been too much, and you're not seemingly energized to move forward? You remember the good boxing match, the fighters on the ropes, and you think, well, he's out, but if it's Muhammad Ali with a little rope of dope, he's coming back even stronger, and not only to win, but to win by a very decisive KO. Well, again, it all depends on the drive of the individual, the motivation for the next steps. Your thoughts, 949-8037, 949-8037, or 1-800-534-8255. And as I reflected earlier on the whole comment with respect to, legalizing cannabis, or making it something that you can consume, will it be that you have to have a license to dispense it like you do tobacco and alcohol? Will it be something that you can only consume in certain quarters? Will it be like other drugs where you have to be a certain age? Will it be, as some have shared, an opportunity to revise our legislation? I know there's a gentleman who had, over the years questioned whether it should be against the law. Just like it is to drink and drive, to smoke when there are other passengers in the car, especially minors, individuals whom themselves are not smoking. Should there be legislation? Now, some would say, well, just common sense should say, well, if you got other people around, especially your children or other minors, then you would not necessarily smoke, but even in a confined space. Now, the person for whom it is their personal vehicle and they smoke in the vehicle, you can always get in the vehicle and tell that whether they're smoking in or there, that it is a vehicle in which someone smokes frequently enough to have that lingering smell around. Well, with much, is there a need for legislation, or is it a case that people are able to utilize and exercise an element of common sense and courtesy and consideration for others to do or not to do in the particular circumstance as sort of prescribed? But again, is it a case that we as a populace sufficiently informed, especially the voting populace, as the electorate, informed of things to be able to know whether we should be proposing or opposing certain things? Is it a case that our elected politicians have the resources to be able to provide a level of education and awareness and inform their respective constituents on not just proposed legislation? Take, for instance, the domestic partnerships bill, the same-sex legislation that will be discussed next week in our House, but even on things that are being considered. Is it a case where the government of the day has kept its populace beforehand informed? Go back to the constant questioning and comments by many that potentially our population could swell by tens of thousands as a result of the move. 949-6990 is an option if you wish to call, or 949-8037, or toll free at 1-800-534-8255 if you wish to call and share your thoughts. And I think we get ready to take this next caller, Miss Susan. Is that what we'll do? Let's do that. Good afternoon and welcome. Thank you for sharing.
Good afternoon, Sterling. How are you?
Very blessed and thankful. How about yourself?
Good. I'm just calling to find out, is anyone working for government? Why I'm saying that is every department you call on to get through to government offices, you get recording, press this, or send an email. What about people that can't send an email or don't have phones that can send emails, just a common little phone or something? It's very ridiculous. I know the poorer people on this island have wasted a lot of their credit trying to get calls to government offices. I mean, you call the glass house, the direct number, they put you through to a specific service. There's no one answering there. You turn around, you call another one. There's no one answering there. Leave a message. No one returns your call. Is anyone in government back to work? I mean, they're getting their paycheck at the end of every month. Can you tell me why we can't get some lip service besides talking to dead people on the phone? I mean, I know I'm not the only one that has this issue because I've talked to a lot of people, and I know definitely this has been a big problem since the COVID-19. Everyone is blaming COVID-19. You know what? Life still has to go on. So
I hear you.
We need to get some business back. I mean, post office is the same way. You go to the Bordentown post office, it's closed 1 hour, 2 days a week. I mean, come on. The doors are closed. If you had to put up mail, what do you have to do? There's people that can't drive from the eastern districts just to come in town, just to find one question, and when they get there, there's no one there. We need some better representation for this island.
I hear you, what you're sharing, and I think that, even in the private sector with the automated technology that we use relative to phone lines that has proved to be a challenge, and maybe even, as you've noted, even more so now. With the civil service, though, I must share, there's a lot who are working diligently and perhaps not closely, on the lines of answering the incoming calls. But as you shared it, maybe we can inquire as to what there's a challenge. Not to point fingers at the technology, but I know even here today and yesterday, our phone system has been a challenge. We've seen it through the HSA, for argument's sake. They've had an issue with the lightning strike, repeatedly. Phones have been challenged.
Lightning doesn't strike every day.
Yeah,
lightning doesn't strike every day, but this has been going on from time COVID-19 came in.
Mm-hmm.
That's the excuse. Everyone is excuse. When the next pandemic comes, you'll hear another excuse again. We need to get some business, and if you don't have someone to do the job, there's a lot of Caymanians that are out of job that can come and at least answer the phone and transfer a telephone call.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
People are sitting down home, they don't have anyone to mind their kids. That's another excuse, but they're still getting their paycheck at the end of the month. Something needs to be done. Anyway, think on these things, and I'll talk to you some other time. Have a good weekend.
Thank you, you too. And I respectfully understand the caller's perspective. You're trying to place a call and not to be overly defensive of the civil service. If you say that I am, then accept that. But we recognize that that's been an issue for a long time now across all sectors. The automated systems, you call and press 1, press 909, and for some of us we like that voice at the end of the line because it helps us. My particular bank, at some point, I would make a call and you would get the same sort of 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 people, over time that you would at the very least be able to recognize. You still go through the protocols to, ensure and verify the security sort of measures, but nonetheless you develop that. Good customer service goes beyond the other things. We also recognize that, as the caller shared, it isn't just the lightning striking frequently, but there are other issues. We have sometimes seemingly endless issues relative to phones not working or technology, the internet access and the like. But the question, as the caller sort of left us with, is it not another way that we can ensure that the service is being provided so that at the first instance, when a phone number is dialed and it rings, that somebody answers it and be able to direct you to some level of assistance. Let's go to the lines. Good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm very well, Sterling. How are you? This is Denison from the Seafarers.
Good afternoon, Mr. Denison, sir. Glad to talk to you.
And you too. Few things. Our government has said that we can now have meetings for 50 people.
Mm-hmm.
So my counselor and I have decided to, if possible, next week sometime to have 3 meetings to try and accommodate everybody. Because every time I see a seafarer, or every time they come in the office, they want to know when the meeting started. So I think what we have decided to do is to have 3 meetings or 4 meetings with 50 people each time. We have already called the first 50, but I just want to make all the seafarers know and be aware that you will be called. If you haven't heard from us yet, then you'll probably be in the second or third meeting. But the first meeting next week, Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And that first 50 have been chosen already. And it was not in no particular order. So, I mean, we're trying to cover everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But the government says we can only have 50 people. And normally we have like 180, 200 people sometimes.
I'm still not quite sure that I understand, the limitation on social and political gatherings. And now it was 2, then 10, then 25, then 50. And in some jurisdictions, it's maybe 100. But, if we're, I don't know, it sort of eludes me at this
if
time.
You can have 50, I guess it has to do with social distancing too,
Yeah, but sometimes something just don't make sense. And this is one that seemingly like so much of this that every day don't make any sense.
And I've also well, I guess I should big up the government because I did call yesterday and they arranged for the seafarers for me to pick up 300 of the washable masks.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll distribute them to the seafarers as they come into the meeting, so everybody will have a mask. So I have to thank government for that.
Yeah.
I don't know call the department, but it's all government anyhow.
Well, I hope that we get to a point, as you shared, that we as someone, I didn't read the message as it was sent to me that the person was being facetious. I hope when I conveyed it didn't come across as such. But they say now that we're supposed to COVID free, when at what point would we get to not having to run about with a mask? I mean, it's no longer dress up in Halloween, is it?
No, not at all. But I just had to go to a doctor for a dermatologist actually, and everybody coming there, including the doctor, was in mask. I mean, I had to have mine on.
Yep.
The problem with those is that I have told people that when I put one on, I'm deaf, blind, and can't see.
But it does affect you.
My glasses fog up every time that I breathe.
I don't mean to laugh, but you're not the first person who's shared that when they put on the mask over their face, the ears are still exposed to somewhat, but they can't hear. It's not covering their eyes.
That's what I tell them, but
it is true.
I just said that as a joke, but
no.
Certainly it affects my vision because I don't know if I just breathe so much hot air, but it pops up every time.
Well, at least you're not talking a lot of hot air. No, but it does.
But I just wanted to notify the seafarers that we are going to have a meeting.
Next Tuesday?
3 meetings actually to try and cover everybody.
All right, so the first one.
They have taken any first preference or anything.
All right.
We just took them into 50 segments,
Yes, sir.
And if I could just comment briefly on that thing that was coming up about the LGBT thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you call it. Having listened yesterday to Dr. Maxfield's explanation on how it relates to the Constitution and all that,
mm-hmm.
I'm more and more convinced, which I was before, but I'm totally convinced now that even though they say that that the representatives don't have to vote collectively, they have to, or that has been taken away, and they can vote their conscience.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think that they should initiate a government referendum because, I've heard all sides, mostly to one side, but you're entitled to your own opinion.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that you share that. In that, I've listened intently to some of the comments from not just the political sort of arm, but our citizens who seemingly are informed, or at least very interested enough to inquire. And there are three things that have jumped out. One, in this particular environment with this particular topic being as emotive as it is the consultation period a sufficient enough time for the people, especially now with everybody doing what they're doing and not seemingly being able to gather and probably distracted with everything else. And then the second thing, if our elected members themselves have not had sufficient time or have not had public meetings as they would probably want in normal circumstances to get the feedback of their constituents. And if they manage to do something, let's say they go into a constituency with 1,000 people just to make it easy, are they going to say, well, if 50% of my constituents, the 500 give me a...
Yeah, it's a very, very tedious thing because
mm-hmm.
I think the representative for Central Georgetown is probably taking a step a little further and he's having a vote for his constituents
mm-hmm.
tomorrow at the town hall. But again, like you say, if 50% of them say no and 50% say yes, what does he say?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, as a representative, what is the representative's personal opinion?
Exactly. Well, he's adamant about working and being, I suppose rightfully so, being responsible for the Central Georgetown constituents.
Right.
And I'm hoping that he doesn't have a 50-50 thing, because then he's in a dilemma, because he would then have to, I suppose that would be the only time that he would really get to voice his personal opinion, or his personal vote, I should say, at the LA. But it's something that I think it should be a referendum. I mean, these things come up all the time, and government. Well, while they did the right thing, I suppose, and telling the MLAs that they don't have to be collectively responsible, but still, that's only 19 people. What happened to the other 60,000?
Well, that is the interesting thing, and I mean, even to make it worse, right? And it's an interesting time. Many of us, as a caller earlier indicated, we're watching things transpire internationally, but just looking at the things that are happening locally, not just regionally, but locally, we have to wonder to what extent the populace, especially the electorate, being given information, sufficient information,
exactly,
accurate information, and timely.
I also heard this morning where someone queried the rumor was going around that if we didn't follow England, then we would have to be independent. I mean,
another scare tactic, perhaps.
That's basically what it is, because nobody has ever discussed anything about Cayman being independent.
But even
while they might have different views on what we do, but I mean, if we became independent, Jesus, I don't know what would happen to us then.
But with great respect to anybody and everybody, is this issue as important as it is for everything? Is this that large an issue to warrant something?
It's just scare tactics, because certainly independence does not. Voting on that doesn't qualify us to be forced to be independent.
Yeah, I mean, look at the issue of the port that was, seemingly has involved so many people.
That was a farce from the beginning, because they weren't telling us all that we should have known.
Right. So this is where I think the populace, all of us, as a parent, you want to know as much so you can give your children good instruction and guidance, and as a voter, you want to know as much about something so that if it's a referendum or if it's just a general election, that you can make as informed a choice as possible. And I think time has come for our people to become much more engaged and informed and involved, and require a semblance of accountability. And
there's so many things that the populace in this country doesn't get. I mean, even weather. Somebody called me last night and said, "Oh, you prepared for the storm because you're coming, And I mean, I called my cousin there, John Tibbetts, and it was a completely different story from what this person was telling me.
Yeah.
So nobody's involved, and they go by all these rumors, and then rumors they get rumors, and they get another rumors, and I remember when I was in civics class at high school, the civics teacher, Mr. Smith, said. He lined up about 10 or 12 of us, and he told the first one something. And by the time we got down to the last one, it was completely different from what he had told him, So these rumors, you can't go by. You have to have facts.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's it, man. And I always welcome, your input. This is why I think you're part of the kitchen cabinet, But your meeting is what? The first one of 50 is next
week,
Tuesday, 7 o'clock?
Yeah. And then Wednesday, another 50, and then Thursday, another 50.
All
but they will be contacted.
All right. Well, let us know how we can help you to, reach the membership. And I do apologize, Mr. Susan. I've got a break, but thank you very much for sharing with us, sir.
Thank you, too. Maybe you can make a note, and instead of me calling in on Monday, so you could just make a little plug for it.
Yeah.
That is fine.
So Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday?
Yes, sir.
All right. 7 p.m. Seafarers Hall.
50 different ones each time.
Yep.
But they will be notified.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you. Have a good weekend. All the very best to you.
You too, sir. Stay dry, stay safe, and Stay blessed. All right. Let's pause. Let's take a break. When we come back, more talk today.
Don't let COVID interrupt your education. Start your journey now with the University of the West Indies UWI Open Campus, the leader in online education, offering certificate, diploma, associate's, bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degrees. Ranked #1 in the Caribbean and in the top 4% of universities across the world. Programs from business management, accounting, tourism, psychology, social work, and more. Don't have your CXC results as yet? No worries. Apply now and submit results later. The UWI Open Campus is flexible and oh so affordable with payment plans or take advantage of scholarship options. Apply by July 24th for September classes. Call 946-8322 or visit www.open.ue.edu. Avoid the stress. Shelter at home while you complete your online degree. The University of the West Indies, bringing world-class university right home to you. Apply today.
Do you have a customer shutoff valve installed? The customer shutoff valve enables you to turn off the water between the meter and your property. In the event that you have to evacuate your property, turning off the valve can prevent unexpectedly high water bills and property damage should a leak occur in your property's plumbing. For more useful hurricane preparedness tips, visit the Water Authority's website at www.waterauthority.ky or follow us on social media.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on insuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
Your Radio Cayman 6 p.m. news, Monday through Friday, is brought to you by Logic. Your life connected.
This is an important public service announcement. The Standards in Public Life Law has commenced, and all persons subject to the law are required to file a declaration of interest by 30th of July 2020. To determine if you are required under the law to make a submission, visit www.standardsinpubliclifecommission.ky. Again, the deadline for persons to submit their declaration of interest in accordance with the Standards in Public Life Law is the 30th of July 2020.
Help support survivors of domestic violence by believing them. Being there for them is one of the best things that you can do. Listen and hear what they need. Let them tell their story in their own way. When supporting persons experiencing domestic violence, maintain confidentiality. They have trusted you enough to share their story. Don't share it with others. If children are involved, alert the multi-agency safeguarding hub. Being there for survivors also means staying in touch. Create a code word or emoji, so if you receive or hear that from them, you will call 911. To help them, it's vital to talk to survivors about their options and help them to evaluate each one. And finally, remember that you cannot rescue survivors of domestic violence, but you can support them on their own terms. For additional support, please contact the Emergency Services, the Cayman Islands Crisis Center, the Family Resource Center, the Legal Befrienders Clinic, the Needs Assessment Unit in Grand Cayman or Cayman Brac, the Mental Health Helpline, the Kids Helpline, or the Department of Community Rehabilitation.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Afternoon, welcome back. Thank you very much for joining us. And every day passes by that you haven't had a chance to reflect, not just reminisce, but to be pensive and introspective and look at it and say, hey, you know what? Let's see if I can give thanks for this one and look forward eagerly to the next with not just a great sense of joy and expectation, but with a desire to contribute and to make it even better for yourself. Nothing wrong with that, but for others as well. And sometimes, we get frustrated. We may believe that our tenure, our position, or even our disposition may somehow position us to act a certain way or require us to believe that there are a certain level of accommodation or what have you. Well, humility before honor. As we seek it, perhaps we'll find that our reward would even be greater. Many of us like to see and be seen. Others, just humility and service. And for some, it's a sense of contributing in a meaningful, modest way, without necessarily any semblance of fanfare or celebration. 8949-8037, 1-800-534-8255, as we coordinate our efforts and try not to conflict our endeavors. We have some physicians from the Health Services Authority join us. Ms. Susan, I believe if we put the black string to the red string and connect up the silver can to the other can, we might actually get the phone lines to work. We're expecting ophthalmologist Dr. Richard Corrigan, together with his colleague and fellow ophthalmologist Dr. Emmanuel Scarati and Dr. Pekka Kusela to join us. So let's go to the phones and see what we have up the street. Good afternoon and welcome, gents. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for your invitation.
Well, thank you very much, and thanks to your marketing department for us to coordinate on a regular basis the opportunity to not just showcase what's transpiring at HSA, but to get our populace in general to be aware of what's happening. Now, I recognize that it's always easier to be in person. You can see the whites of the eyes of the individual with whom you're chatting, but sometimes we leverage a technology. Perhaps to both Dr. Corkin and Dr. Scarati, perhaps I could just ask Dr. Pecco initially for the brief intro of, and then Dr. Corkin, maybe you and then Dr. Scarati, just a brief intro of each other and share with us and our listeners. Dr. Pecco, perhaps good afternoon to you, and maybe have you join us first, sir?
Yeah, good afternoon, and thank you so much for having us. It's great to be in air to discuss new ventures of HSA ophthalmology. Yeah, we are really delighted to have now two world-class specialists working with our ophthalmology department, Dr. Corkin and Dr. Scarati, and we felt that it's a good time to come and talk a little bit about the service the ophthalmology department is offering at the moment, and perhaps also tell a little bit about the new things that are going to happen.
All right, man, it's excellent, and I'm excited about it because we see the importance of it. With that, Dr. Corkin, perhaps we invite you to share with our listeners maybe a brief intro, give us a perspective, and then we do likewise with Dr. Scarati, and then we can talk more about some of the upcoming plans for the eye clinic, as Dr. Pecco shared. Dr. Corkin, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, and great to be with you again. Yes. Well, I've actually been at the Lions Eye Clinic on and off now for about 4 years. I initially came over as a locum and have spent several periods of time just filling in while other doctors were away or there wasn't a second person available. And just over a year ago, I was able to position, and I've been at the Lions Clinic now for just over a year. So it's a different situation coming as a temporary person and being here as permanent. One can get your teeth cut and get right into the nitty-gritty of what needs to be done in the department and at the hospital. And the Lions Clinic has been going on for many years, and there have been quite a few doctors that have come and gone during that time. And I think this is the first time for several years that we've actually got 2 full-time consultant ophthalmologists at the clinic. So there's a lot that we can do together as a team to upgrade and uplift the service that we've been providing over the years. And there's some challenges ahead, and we look forward to meeting those challenges. But it's great to have a like-minded person in Ermanno Serati who has joined us at the beginning of this year, and he brings a wealth of experience, and we look forward to helping the community take the benefit of that.
And with that, Dr. Corkin, I mean, as you shared just initially, being a locum and now being sort of full-time, there is a different perspective. You're more vested in the community in the sense you get a chance to develop, perhaps over time, a relationship with patients who may have to continue to return for follow-up.
You're absolutely right, and it's Sterling, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and I think one of the challenges in the clinic has been, because there's been a frequent turnover, that you can't get the sort of the doctor-patient relationship developing, and it must be very frustrating for patients to come to the clinic and have to see a new face, someone that they haven't seen before, or worse still, that they're told that their appointment has been rescheduled because there isn't someone available, and that has actually happened in the last couple of years. So it's actually quite nice to see patients. They come back and say, "Oh, are you still here?" Yeah. So it's good, and one does definitely. You do build up a relationship with patients, particularly patients who have sort of chronic long-term problems, because you tend to see them more regularly, and I think they feel more satisfied and that they're getting a type of service rather than being bumped around from pillar to post. So I think one of the challenges that we have is to try and really put the eye clinic back on the map where it was several years ago. I think that with the pandemic, it's obviously creates its own challenges, but it's given us time to be able to, I suppose, think of a vision that we can both apply our hands to create a situation where the clinic is going to grow, is going to be a center of excellence over the coming years. And we've highlighted several parts that we can do that. But I mean, I think perhaps it's a good point to bringing my colleague, Dr. Serati, in to tell you a bit about himself.
All right. Thank you very much. An excellent segue. Dr. Serati, welcome and good afternoon to you.
Yeah, well, thank you and good afternoon.
Okay, we're just having a little bit of a challenge there with connecting up to Dr. Serati. So sometimes, it worked 2 out of 3 bad, they say, but not if you're the third one. Let's try it again. Dr. Serati? Okay, are you there, sir?
So,
okay.
I'm very pleased to and very proud to join the team of HSA because I started just the 2nd of January this year, and I found a very good environment and a very good team, and for me it's a new challenge because I worked in several countries before coming in Cayman. As Dr. Corkin said, even for me the story was the same. So I came in Cayman Island the first time as a locum last April 19, and I found a very good environment and very good senior management that offered to me to come in here and to show my expertise especially about glaucoma. As I was the lead of department in UK for 4 years, glaucoma department, and so I'm so happy to get the job and to get the special result in Cayman, just to help the community to save the vision about the care of glaucoma. Mm-hmm. So. I'm very proud because we started just in the month of July after COVID. We started with the new procedure that I did in Midlands in UK, and I was one of the first and the first surgeon that did several procedures, the new procedure, the mixed procedure, that is a very very interesting surgery because that surgery is we can get less complication for patient and we can guarantee the very good care about glaucoma.
Share this whole issue of glaucoma and the like. The notion that as we think of the eye, and even with great respect, we were ill-advised, foolish to be rub our eye because something's in it. How it can bother us now, minimally invasive, surgeries, and you're looking at glaucoma and the fact of this impact on.
The impact of glaucoma in the community is very big because according to the last statistics, it seems that glaucoma is more than 30% of population is affected by glaucoma. You know that there are different types of glaucoma, but so glaucoma in the community is very well represented, and then our skill is to get the best care for glaucoma, to settle the best care that we can. Mm-hmm. So, and in the past it was one of the big volume of referral overseas. So the glaucoma surgery was not done so often in the HSA, and then most of times the patients were referred in overseas in Miami, mainly in Miami.
Sterling, are you there?
Yes, sir. We'll join you in a second, Dr. Corkin.
I'm sorry, I can't hear any audio at all.
Okay.
From Dr. Serati, so I'm not quite sure what he's saying.
Okay, well, I will see if we can address that. And Dr. Scarati, if you're able to hear me, Dr. Corkin was just relaying that he was unable to hear what you were sharing. I have been able to, thankfully, hear you. But Dr. Corkin, with that, and again, our apologies, we'll try to figure this out, make sure that everybody can hear everybody else. I was just going to come to ask you, Dr. Corkin, with this notion of creating this center of excellence, with the idea that glaucoma, and Dr. Scarati was just sharing the different types and glaucoma, could we ask maybe two things of you to help us? The causes, and perhaps some of the types and the causes, but the need then for education for the public as we create a center of excellence, not just for the surgeries and the delivery of the service and the like, but to educate the public so that we understand that as a populace, there is a role for us to play in managing our healthcare and being the champions for our own healthcare as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think you've hit the nail on the head, is that everybody really needs to be responsible for their own health. And there's nothing better than living a healthy lifestyle with proper nutrition, exercise, and it all gears up. The body is a very complex organism, but things start to break down when we live in excess. And I think if we follow the rules and try and keep ourselves healthy and in a fit situation, our body should last us a lifetime without a lot of the chronic ailments that we have to face today. And I just think of the concerns that we have with the type of lifestyle which has become universal. So it's not just particular to Cayman, but that of diabetic eye disease, which is a completely different entity from glaucoma. But it is one of the ravages of people who have got serious eye conditions. They present often with uncontrolled diabetes, and after years, which eventually attacks the kidneys, it attacks the blood vessels, it attacks the eyes, and it becomes not just a routine to maintain, but it becomes more critical, and we have to do more intervention medicine to try and save people's sight. And in fact, if we were more educated, if we could actually educate patients and teach them the benefits of a good, normal, healthy lifestyle, they would realize that in the years to come, it's actually going to give them more longevity without the chronic problems that we face in many parts of the world today. And it's one of the things that I think that it's one of the challenges that we have here is to try and bring the education, to bring the screening of people with diabetes to check their eyesight on a regular basis, and to be able to instruct them or to be able to teach them how to manage the conditions so that they don't develop these terrible eye and other complications.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the challenges we have ahead is to try and to start some form of screening program on the island where we can integrate GPs, we can integrate the physicians in the hospital, the opticians who are in private, the eye care physicians, so that we have a basis and try and improve patients' understanding of their conditions so that they can take care of themselves better, and also that we can screen them more frequently so that we can recognize problems before they actually are going to become serious problems. So these are things that we would like to initiate in the plan ahead, but we also have the expertise now to be able to do surgery, vitreoretinal surgery, diabetic surgery, that we haven't had before. So it's another, if you like, it's another challenge that we have, is to now try and find the funding to be able to have the proper equipment that we can offer on the island surgeries that before have had to be referred elsewhere. And I think this is a very important aspect that in the post-COVID situation that we have, is that transportation to and from other centres in the world are not going to be as open as they were before. And I think people in general would prefer to stay at home if they can have the surgery, and building up a centre of excellence where we're not referring patients out, but in fact we're actually having referrals sent to us from possibly other islands in the Caribbean. I think that will go a long way to establishing the fact that, you know, I think the community is now fortunate that it has two full-time ophthalmic surgeons working at the HSA who will be able to provide a service to them that really hasn't been here for some time.
Indeed, and this is where we perhaps after our break we could continue our discussion looking at the Centre of Excellence, but also talking more about the surgeries and the like. And I've been told about something called the eye stent that I'll be interested to hear more about. So to our listeners, we invite you to stay tuned for our news. When we come back, please rejoin us.
The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. We are a not-for-profit, member-centric plan with a democratically elected volunteer board of trustees representing all sectors of the Cayman Islands economy. We have an all-in expense ratio of less than 1%, over 20,000 members, and $490 million in assets under management. We were the first multi-employer pension plan approved by the regulator in the late 1990s, and today we are still strong, secure, and are here for our employees and employers alike. If you would like to join or require further information, visit chamberpension.ky. And for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you.
You are listening to Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Your 2 p.m. headlines brought to you by greenturtle.ky. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only two species that we have here on my island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice.
It is in the best interest of the people of these islands.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. There are no new positive COVID-19 results as of yesterday. 375 COVID-19 tests have been carried out since it was last reported on Wednesday, July 22nd. All were negative. There are 203 COVID cases in the Cayman Islands out of 28,839 tests. 202 have now fully recovered. In international news, 2 statues of Christopher Columbus have been temporarily removed in Chicago. It comes a week after protesters attempted to topple a statue of the Italian explorer in the city. Although temporary, they are the latest monuments to be removed amid an ongoing backlash against perceived symbols of racial bias and imperialism in the U.S. An estimated 1.3 billion tons of plastic is destined for our environment, both on land and in the ocean. By 2040, unless worldwide action is taken, Dr. Costas Velis from the University of Leeds said the number was staggering, but that we had the technology and the opportunity to stem the tide. Boris Johnson has admitted the government did not understand coronavirus during the first weeks and months of the UK outbreak. Mr. Johnson also said ministers could have done some things differently. More than 45,000 people in the UK have died after testing positive for coronavirus, with almost 300,000 cases confirmed. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
Green Turtle, modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app. The future of mobile, saving lives today.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Your voice, your choice, your radio.
The Toyotathon 2020 event is going on now at Vamped Motors. Get our lowest prices of the year on a great selection of our most popular Toyotas with big savings on the new CHR Hybrid, the 7-seater Rush, the adventurous RAV4, the rugged Hilux truck, and more. You can drive home an amazing deal. Save up to $5,000. Take the full discount, get cash back, upgrade your vehicle with your savings. It's all your choice during our huge Toyotathon sales event going on through July. Don't miss out. Come to Vamped Motors for your new Toyota. Let's go places.
Calling all registered voters for the constituency of Georgetown Central. It's your representative, Kenneth Bryan here. I want your input in the government's proposed domestic partnership bill. Come and place your confidential vote on whether or not you want me to support this bill. The voting location and time is this coming Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Constitutional Hall, better known as the Georgetown Town Hall. Come and take part in your democracy.
Are you having financial difficulties? Are you unable to pay your water bills because of the coronavirus pandemic? The Water Authority wants to help. Contact a customer service rep today to arrange a payment agreement. Get in touch by emailing info@waterauthority.ky or call 94-WATER. That's 949-2837.
Green Turtle, modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app. The future of mobile, saving lives today.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
afternoon. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. And again, thanks for this continued partnership with the Health Services Authority. A chance now to not just celebrate, but to invite our public to truly, with great respect and admiration, look at the opportunity that we have over at HSA. We have ophthalmologist Dr. Richard Corkin together with his colleague Dr. Emanos Surati, together with Dr. Pekka Kosela. Gents, thank you very much for taking some of the afternoon to share with us, and I appreciate your intelligence as we manage and leverage your technology, that we can have this discussion via the phone, maybe in short order. We'll be able to sit again in the studio and be more assembled. But again, welcome back. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. As we were continue discussion, perhaps before I revisit with Dr. Corkin and Dr. Surati, Dr. Pekko, from your perspective, I mean, you've seen the great sort of forward momentum in our health systems that we have here, and now we look at the fact that we can leverage the resources at the eye clinic and position, I think, as Dr. Corkin shared, not only are we not maybe having to send our own patients overseas, but the expertise would be where we have the Center of Excellence, and in the region, others would come to our shores as well for this, for orthopedics, for other services as well.
Correct, yeah. As you said, it's a great asset for our organization to have two permanent ophthalmologists who can offer the most ophthalmology services on the island to the people of the islands. And in addition, who knows in the future if we have resources and capacity to offer these great services to our neighboring countries as well.
Right.
So it's a great relief for us also, not needing to send patients constantly overseas for the special management.
Indeed. Dr. Corkin, with that, Dr. Pekko referenced resources earlier. You said, if we can get the funding, for some of these things, with great respect, because I think, and I say this, from my own sort of ethos, in that the pillars in a society should at least include its healthcare and its education systems. So with that level of resource funding and the buy-in, what are we talking about that we would need in order to position us to get where your vision, no pun intended, would take us?
Well, it could be a bottomless pit. This is the problem with modern healthcare today, is that we are becoming more and more dependent on digital computerized equipment, which by their very nature become obsolete after a very few years. So in the most modern centers in the world, they have to have a system whereby they can continuously upgrade their systems to keep ahead. Now, it's just not possible in many private practices throughout the world, and it becomes even more of a problem in states, institutions, in hospitals, because the budget, the finance is just not able to cope with that, because it's not just ophthalmology. It's in every it's in every faculty. It's in every department in the hospital, and it's numbers of noughts on figures. It really escalates logarithmically as the years go by. So one has to try and deal with modern medicine, sometimes using equipment which is not exactly up to date, but one can manage very, very adequately. The Lions Clinic has had at its disposal equipment which has served it very well over the years. For instance, we've just taken delivery of a brand new state-of-the-art visual field machine, and it was difficult to manage certain aspects of glaucoma without one. But one can manage. It's just that when you have visual field machine available with computer analysis, it makes things much more easy. It makes the indications for changing treatment or offering surgery a lot more relevant, and one can make those decisions at an earlier stage. So the thing is that when we talk about having a vision for the clinic, nothing's going to happen overnight. But the fact that we're here, the fact that we're actually promoting the healthcare facilities, I think the communities eventually will demand that we have these facilities available. But we're working towards it. It's a step-by-step process, and we're making headrows. We've just had a new visual fields machine. We've also we're getting equipment which is going to enable us to perform corneal grafts on the island, which is something which hasn't been done for some time. And I think that with corneal transplant surgery, whether we're doing various different techniques of corneal surgery, I think that is something that we're not just offering people on the island, but we can offer to communities in the Caribbean. So that, again, we're actually bringing people here rather than sending them away. And I think that as we progress forward, and as we build these building blocks, whether it's with corneal surgery, whether it's with diabetic retinopathy, whether it's with glaucoma, I mean, we're making inroads already. We're doing newer surgeries in glaucoma at the HSA, which are safer and which help not only bring the pressures down, which is the problem for these people, but it also takes them off a lot of their medication, which improves their lifestyle tremendously. So there are new procedures out there. There are new things which we are doing at the clinic. It's a very exciting time in the clinic for both Emano and myself, because and I think that that will spill over into the community at large, and they'll realize that they do have an asset in the eye department here. The problem is that because of the pandemic, we're now in a situation where we have a backlog of patients that have not been attended to over the last 3 or 4 months. But we're addressing that problem, and we haven't just been twiddling our thumbs for the last few months. We've been prioritizing patients, and we've been bringing them in, calling them in to see them, those patients who have potentially serious diabetic eye disease, those patients who we're concerned about their glaucoma loss. These are patients that we bring in, we monitor them, and if there is steps that need to be taken, we'll take those steps. But your initial question was financial, and I think that given the time that we're in, we are now on the mark as having a clinic where we're expecting that things are going to improve, and I think that will be recognized within the hospital and within the community, and to a certain extent, some of the funding, I think, and I hope, will take care of itself. So it's really based on gaining the confidence of the community, the fact that they have an eye facility which is improving, which is going to be a standard of excellence anywhere in the world, which will be bringing cases to the island and hopefully stopping sending referrals offshore. And I think that as the community appreciates that, and we get to know our patients better and they get to know us better, they'll have a lot more confidence. And I think that confidence is a huge driver of what we hope to achieve at the clinic. And the main drivers will not be us, but will be our patients.
That's the thing, as you share that confidence. Now, Dr. Serrato, with that in mind, the surgeries in particular, when we're looking at, as you said, the MIGS, you referenced earlier, and then the iStent, the small device now that you've managed to do in the past, can we ask of you two things initially? One, to build on that confidence that Dr. Corkin referenced, how do we get our people to appreciate that thing that you have here, locally available, is not only as good, but possibly better than that thing that you may try to acquire by going offshore, whether it's for the purchase or something, or whether it's for medical care. You're not sure with whom you're going to engage, but you do know what you have. For instance, at HSA, how do we build that level of confidence in our people?
So, if you mean about the new procedure, so I used to explain to the people and that the procedure, and I used to show the procedure, not the procedure on live, the live procedure, but the video animation, and most of patients can understand immediately when I show the video animation what we are going to do about the eye stent, because we are speaking about one of the most modern procedure about glaucoma. We are talking about one of the smallest device that we can implant into the eye in a short time. So if you consider that today, so nowadays, all of the ophthalmology surgery is going to get a quick time of operation, very fast operation, very fast, very quick. Quick recovery of patients as a day case, and a quick recovery of vision. So that's for cataract, and now all of the patient knows that the cataract surgery is very quick, very fast, very good recovery of vision, and even for glaucoma through the mix we are going to do the same. So usually I will put the mix in the eye stent inject combined to the cataract surgery, and in less than 10 minutes we can get in one operation, in one step, we can get for patient two benefits. So the first one is the cataract out, and the second the glaucoma care. So in this case, the patient the day after, or two or three days after, the patient can see very well, and with the pressure that we bring down through the use of the eye stent. So that is the new scenario of future glaucoma surgery. So less complication, quick recovery, and the operation that need to be done in a short time by the local anesthesia. So, and let me say that that is our skill in the future, in the immediate future, to bring more so patients and to get the patient to analyze case by case, and to recognize the best indication for those patients, and to propose them the best care of glaucoma. And as Dr. Corkin mentioned, our challenge is to get patients, especially as the COVID emergency teached us. We need to be ready to do to manage any emergency, like the emergency that maybe someone knows, the emergency that we managed about the couple of guys, the French guys that were stopped in the Highland due to COVID. And for this one, as a lead of the surgery department, I would like that Dr. Pecco will explain what we do, and even because that result was a very big result for the hospital, and I'm so proud about that.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, Dr. Pecco, we have to be able to celebrate, such resounding success. And again, if we sing the praises justifiably, it may instill a greater confidence in our people. So to that, when we look at surgeries overall, and in this case, Dr. Pecco, what would you like to share with us?
Well, I would just briefly like to tell the public what Dr. Scherati's team managed to do with this French sailor who happened to be traveling past Cayman Islands from Guadeloupe to Honduras, and the lady had a history of at least two previous eye surgeries, one of them for retinal detachment and one for cataract. And during their travel, she started to get double vision in her eye, and they happened to get stuck here in Cayman because of the COVID. And Dr. Skerati examined the lady and noticed that the cataract lens had started to come off from its attachment, and it was threatening the retina, the most important part of the vision, the back part of the eye, and if the lens had come loose and damaged the retina again, the lady would have lost her vision. So Dr. Skerati and his team managed the emergency very quickly with excellent outcome, and the patient is currently recovering well from this operation. So I think it shows that our clinic has the skills and ability to react to very demanding emergencies even, and nevertheless we had the COVID here. Still everything went well, and the patient is presumably soon to continue her trip towards Honduras, where they were aiming to go.
Mm-hmm. So when we listen to this and we see where we've had this vested interest, is this investment now not just in a public sort of relations exercise, but as Dr. Corkin was sharing, an educational initiative to advise and inform the general populace as to what one is available, and two, the benefits of having perhaps like diabetes screening, maybe enhanced glaucoma screening, but also vision care, just like you would do with regular, say, dental care or other similar sort of medical sort of protocols. Where are we now to a point where we can engage more of our populace to frequently look after their eye health in a more sort of frequent manner?
Who would you like to answer that question?
Dr. Corkin, if you wish to take it, yes, please.
Well, it can be quite it's quite a simple concept, but it can be quite complex and challenging to educate everyone for something which they take for granted. But yes, I think we do have an opportunity now that in this day and age that people realize that they've got to look after themselves a little bit better. At the hospital, we would like to open up and engage in the public and in our patients and even our colleagues in the hospital, so that we can sort of corroborate with pathologies which are affecting not only the eyes but the kidneys, the hearts, blood pressure, diabetes, etc., so that we can create, for instance, as I mentioned in diabetes, create a register that we can actually get these people online, so that we can actually, if they don't come to us, we can reach out to them and bring them in, so that we have a regular screening facility, which it becomes a routine, and they, just by having a photograph taken once a year, they can not only keep their diabetes in check, but it can sometimes save a trip to a specialist to see what their eyes are doing.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the problems that we could be creating is an absolute deluge of patients wanting to have their eyes checked at the clinic, and I think our optometry colleagues I think one of the things that we can educate the public is that for things like glasses and being able to see better, an optician and optometrist is still a very, very important part of that whole equation. And although at the eye clinic, we do check vision, our main concern is actually medical and keeping the health of the eye in perspective. So in times like this, where our clinics may be busy, we still have patients coming wanting to change their glasses, and I think that it would relieve the situation if we could attend more to the health of the eye and allow the refractive problems, the glasses problems, to be sorted by the optometrist. I mean, we enjoy a good relationship with optometry on the island, and we cross-refer. We sometimes send patients to them for their glasses, and they're very good at sending patients to us, because during their examination they're obviously screening, and when they run into problems, they're very quick to point them towards us. So it boils down to patient education, and knowing who to go, when to go, and why to go, and if we can just create an awareness amongst the public of all the different types of players in keeping them healthy, and then they can decide where they need to go to. But also to be aware that the eye is a very important organ that we take extremely for granted, and that unfortunately it bears the brunt of chronic long-term illness. And it's just like a car, you need to keep the parts all ticking over and running. And if you forget the tappets, or if you forget the exhaust, or you forget the brakes, you're going to run into problems one day. So it's a case of awareness. It's a case of self-education. I mean, one doesn't have to teach. There is so much on social media, on media, in very simple terms. And I know that the teaching facilities in patients who have problems, they learn about the condition. And I think the more you know about the problem that you have, the better you be able to deal with it. The big thing for many years was denial. I haven't got this. I don't want to know about this. It'll go away, or I'll take the pills and it'll go away, or I just won't take the pills and forget about it. I think in order to keep functioning, in order to be the grandparents we want to be, to give a lifestyle to our children and our grandchildren, we really need to take the bull by the horns, and we need to realize that in fact it's not the doctor who's in charge of our health, but it's us individually.
That's it.
And by staying ahead of the game, not only will our life be enriched because we can enjoy things more, we can enjoy our children more, but we'll live longer, and hopefully we'll live happier.
Amen.
And healthier.
Amen. Well, I certainly appreciate it. This is one of the reasons we enjoy this continuing partnership with the Health Services Authority. Maybe it'll encourage more of our citizens to pursue careers in the medical field, to recognize that it's wide and varied and rewarding, but equally to appreciate that we have a resource here. Sadly, the Scripture reminds us, a prophet is not without honor, save his own country. So that's maybe a challenge through this education initiative that we can overcome. I want to thank each of you for your time, and perhaps in closing, maybe invite Dr. Serrati for some final thoughts to our listeners, and then Dr. Corkin, if you want to add anything, and then perhaps Dr. Casella, maybe you could close it off. Just a quick closing word if you wish, Dr. Serrati. Okay. Yeah. As we leverage the technology, perhaps we'll finish up. Dr. Pecco, for your team, perhaps final thoughts as we close out the discussion?
Yeah, sorry, the mute was on, so Dr. Serrati will briefly say something, and then I will also
have
a couple of words.
So just quickly we are going to, about the education, even the educational community, we are talking about, today we talked about the most important sickness of the eye for which we can lose the vision, so glaucoma and diabetic retinopathy. So following the behavior of our colleagues in international countries, so we need to be proactive instead of reactive. So we don't need to provide the care when the sickness is so advanced, but we need to be proactive and then to prevent and to anticipate, and that is what we are going to do even through the future investment.
Indeed. And Dr. Serrati?
So Dr. Pecco now is going to be the conclusion.
Yeah. Dr. Corkin, did you have something that you would like to say?
Nothing specifically, but it's just that it's really fantastic to have a colleague on board with the experience of Dr. Surati, and I think that together with a good plan, I think that the community on the island will be very well cared for, and we look forward to facing the challenges, and I look forward to seeing a lot of the patients that perhaps I haven't seen for some time because of the epidemic.
All right, well, I'm very, very grateful to you, can come and share. Thank you for bearing with us as we navigate this new sort of realm with leveraging our technology. For me, it's better to, be able to move forward collectively. So thanks very much. I invite you to have not only a very safe, but a very relaxing and enjoyable weekend as well.
Thank you, Sterling, for having us, and I'm looking forward to talking again soon about other new services that our surgical department will be offering soon.
Indeed. Very much excited. All right. All the best to each of you.
Same to you. Have a good
Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you. And this is a beautiful place, we need to celebrate it. We need to be prepared to hold each other accountable, but also, for our individual efforts. That foot that we put forward, is it our best foot? And are we going to back it up with, some very positive, productive action? And sometimes, people don't necessarily want to hear what has to be said, but if we can say it respectfully and responsibly, understand that we should not expect to act, with impunity, it's going to only make us a healthy, productive society. And if we don't realize it now, what is that world like for our children and their children? If it's one that is lawless, one that has no respect for the rule of law, for self, and more importantly, for each other. So as we move about it, let's see how we can make this weekend even better. Please, please, please be absolutely safe and careful, cautious and considerate on our roads. It was raining really, really hard earlier. So maybe it still is, but certainly the roads are probably still wet. Probably some, settled water in some places. So don't hydroplane. You're not in the sea. So slow down. Get there safely. Remember, we are subject to Mother's Nature's design and desires. So if something befalls us, let's try to plan and prepare. But let's also be willing to act in concert to make each other as safe as possible. So if you're out and you're about and you're making, your purchases, and there's probably a neighbor or a family member or co-worker or someone else who could use a little extra provision and you're able to do so, well, maybe buy and share. Share and share alike is a mantra that I think we all should be reminded. But likewise, don't be scared of what may befall us because of a hurricane or the like, but don't be so foolish and we throw caution to the wind. And with great respect to all and any leadership, political or ecclesiastical or otherwise, they're not gods. So they're not set on a high to dictate. They're there to help direct, but again, civilly, respectfully, and responsibly. So let's all do our part. Please enjoy your weekend. God's willing, we'll be back here. Am I going to be in the studio, Miss Susan? Not that it's a place I don't like, but I certainly don't appreciate the cameras. I enjoyed being absent and only present via the phone. So I guess I'm back. Monday, no pun intended. I'll see you or be seen on Monday. Until then, be blessed.
Hey, hun, what you doing?
Putting things away in the shed since it's hurricane season. Preparing for the better.
Don't you mean preparing for the worst?
No, for the better. Since we have Brit-K Insurance, we're fully covered against hurricanes. Plus, they have response teams ready to help us file a claim faster. If I were preparing for the worst, I'd watch football all day.
Still don't get it.
Isn't there a match on?
Oh, really?
Let Brit-K prepare you for the better this hurricane season. Call 949-8699 or visit britk.ky.
Green Turtle. Modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.
Talk Today is brought to you by Fidelity Bank. For all your banking needs, visit fidelitygroup.com. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Also brought to you by greenturtle.ky. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.